April and Dying by Reeve Aldrich, 1866 to 1892. Green blood fresh pulsing through the trees, black buds that sun and shower distend, all other things begin anew, but I must end. Warm sunlight on faint coloured sward, warm fragrance in the breeze's breath, for other things art heat and life, for me is death. So this poem is by Reeve Aldrich. She was born in New York City. She grew up in the countryside. I think she moved to upstate New York when she was 8 years old after her father's death, and she was educated by her father. She married and went to Minnesota with her husband, who was a doctor, and she got a medical degree while she was in Minnesota. Sadly, she died at the young age of 26. So, what's this poem about? Well, I think this poem is about death and rebirth, and April, spring, is the time where the world comes to life. All of the plants come to life, but there are other things that must die, and I think she is considering her own mortality. I even wonder when this particular poem was written. I get the feeling that perhaps this was written when she knew that she was dying. And this poem is about death and rebirth. And yes, there are the seasons, and there is the season of spring where the world is reborn, but not everything. Yeah? Everything is born, it has its life, and it dies. And the end, the death, is something that is inevitable for all of us. Green blood fresh pulsing through the trees. So the sap is coming through the trees. This is spring. This is April. The sap is rising in the trees. This is the blood of the trees. It's a lovely metaphor. Black buds that sun and shower distend. So on the ends of the branches and twigs there are black buds which are becoming swollen because of the sun and the showers and the heat. And I love this green and black, and the green and black of spring, and everything is growing, everything is coming back to life. All other things begin anew. So everything in the world around her starts again, but I must end. So death is something that is inevitable. Yeah, there is death and rebirth. This is the cycle of life. But all things are born, they grow, and then they die. And this is, I think, the contrast between spring and rebirth and the inevitable death or end of everything. Warm sunlight on faint coloured sward. Okay, sward is grass, is cut grass. So there's warm sunlight shining on the faint coloured, on the light green grass. Warm fragrance in the breeze's breath. So there are smells, the smells of spring on the breezes, on the winds that come in. You can smell spring. Yeah, the grass is becoming green, and there is the smell of spring and flowers in the air. For other things art life and heat. So there is life and heat for everything else. That everything else is growing. It's absorbing the sunlight and becoming warm. For me is death, but I'm going to die. And I think she's certainly thinking about her own death. I don't know if she's been diagnosed, or she knows that she's going to die soon. Um, but she's certainly in a rather black mood. But this is saying that yes, there is rebirth, but all things come to an end. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. April and Dying by Reeve Aldrich.